There is a massive move incoming here for the Edmonton Oilers as they prepare for their season and home opener against the Winnipeg Jets tomorrow night when it comes to roster moves and other cap shenanigans. We'll get into all that and more today on Oilers Digest, but first we are 10 subscribers away from 2,100. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hop along the train here as we get ready for what should be a very exciting season of Oilers hockey. But without further ado, folks, cap friendly. Yes, there's been some cap juggling done by the Edmonton Oilers when it comes to the Evander Kane situation. Earlier in the summer, Evander Kane was listed as an LTIR candidate, but the Oilers publicly stated their desire to start the year under the cap to try to accrue cap space and not put Evander Kane on LTIR. It would be unlikely for them to place Kane on LTIR unless they suffer multiple injuries, but that seems to not be the case. The Edmonton Oilers called up Matt Savoy and signed Cameron Wright to a $952,000 contract. When Wright is registered tomorrow, being today, this tweet was from yesterday, the Oilers will have $53 of cap space. They will then put Evander Kane on LTIR and have a capture of $53 away from the salary cap. The salary cap limit there for the NHL, which is $88 million there. So some nifty cap work here done by the Oilers management team. Brendan Escott here from Oilers Now. It's apparent the Oilers are trying to get as close to the salary cap as possible by recalling Savoy and Wright so that they can maximize a possible LTIR stint here for Evander Kane. If the team has cap space remaining, it is deducted from the potential LTIR relief, meaning if you have $500K in cap space, that would be subtracted from Kane's $1.125 million, leaving savings of just $4.625 million. And from DNB here, Daniel Nugent-Hopkins of The Athletic, having Matt Savoy on the season opening roster gives the Oilers a performance bonus LTIR pool of $1 million. That means if they are in LTIR and they need to recall him, he will count for $1 million less against the cap. You can see almost 900,000 there compared to, almost 1.9. And Savoy will likely be sent back to the AHL on Tuesday. Now let's sort of go over LTIR here. What is LTIR? If a team cannot be cap compliant on opening day without using LTIR, the LTIR pool is the amount the team exceeds the cap. For example, if a team is $3 million over the cap and places a player on LTIR with a $4 million cap hit for the opening roster submission, the LTIR pool is the $3 million that the team exceeded the cap. While on LTIR, cap space is no longer accrued, meaning you cannot build up any cap space for the rest of the season, perhaps the trade deadline, for example, to make a big splash. Meaning any portion of the LTIR pool not used cannot be used later. And the amount that a team may exceed the salary cap due to LTIR is commonly referred to as the LTIR pool. You can see I'm saying LTIR a lot here, folks. Get used to it. If a team is cap compliant on opening day without using LTIR, which the Edmonton Oilers indeed are doing so, with Evander Kane waiting until tomorrow to put him on LTIR, or they use LTIR at any point of the season, the LTIR pool is the cap hit of the LTIR player, less or minus the team's cap space when the player goes on LTIR. For example, if a player with a $4 million cap hit goes on LTIR when the team has 100K of cap space, the pool is $3.9 million, the $4 million minus the 100K. Because of this, teams often make several roster moves right before a player goes on LTIR in order to be as close to the cap as possible in order to maximize the LTIR pool. And that's exactly, again, what the Oilers did. $53. I know many other teams, Carolina, I believe, got to $0. The Leafs got to $1. So many teams are finding ways to sort of work their way around the salary cap, get to the maximum possible without going over. Of course, many teams do go over, but they utilize LTIR after the season starts when they're over, so they cannot accrue cap space. I know teams like Montreal, they sort of ran into that problem with guys like Arber Xhekaj and Carey Price and Raphael Harvey-Pinard, but the Oilers and Leafs and Hurricanes managed to find their way around it. And while Kane going on the LTIR opens up his $5.125 million in pool space, allowing the Oilers to exceed the salary cap by that amount of money, minus $53, the team will already be cap compliant. That will allow them to accrue salary cap space, save for $53, up until the NHL's March 7th trade deadline. So that's huge for the Oilers. I mean, If there's other injuries that do happen to the team, that's a problem down the road for the Oilers to solve, of course. Call-ups and all that other jazz. And then eventually when Evander Kane does come back to the team, or if he does come back, nothing is ever guaranteed in the NHL when it comes to, those big surgeries that Evander Kane is currently undergoing. But with all that said and done here, folks, I mean, Evander Kane, LTIR, hope he, recovers exceptionally well to come back to the team. But other news regarding the Edmonton Oilers as they are waiting for their season opener tomorrow. Of course, the season does start today with a triple header, which begins in about an hour at the time of this recording. So a lot of hockey today, but the important games, in my opinion, anyways, start tomorrow. And there is some lines and pairings at practice Tuesday coming here from Tony Barr of Oilers TV. Of course, that, the top line, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Connor McDavid, Zach Hyman, and Jeff Skinner, my apologies, is back with Leon Draisaitl and Arvidsson. I remember there was a tweet yesterday saying that it was Janmark, Draisaitl, and Arvidsson on that second line, but that's more so just Kris Knoblauch trying to figure things out, just in case if anything ever happens, he can juggle the lines. Is Janmark, my second option for that second line left wing? Not exactly, but, it's something to try. And, of course, the third line with Matisse Janmark, Adam Henrique, and Connor Brown, which were exceptional in last year's playoffs. And then, finally, the fourth line here with Vasily Podkolzin, Derek Ryan, and Corey Perry. And then the defensive core, of course, led by Matisse Ekholm and Evan Bouchard, Darnell Nurse, Ty Emberson, Brett Kulak, and Troy Stecher, and Travis Dermott, who is still on a PTO, but I will get to this in just a little bit. And then lastly, Stuart Skinner, who is starting his first ever season opener for the Edmonton Oilers. In prior years, it's been guys like Jack Campbell, Mike Smith, Mikko Koskinen, I also believe, started this season opener. Don't quote me on that, but it is Skinner and Calvin Pickard between the pipes. And lastly here, Elliot Friedman. There's an interesting name here at the end of the waivers list with Raphael Lavoie being put on waivers by the Vegas Golden Knights. Does Edmonton claim him again? That remains to be seen. He can go back to Bakersfield if the Oilers do claim him, but yes, there are 30 other teams that are, might put a claim in on him, or he might clear waivers and go to Henderson, which is Vegas's farm team. Of course, the other names here being put on waivers: Chris Drieger, Mackenzie Entwistle, and Mark Freeman. But last thing here, Travis Dermott, they're expecting Travis Dermott to formally sign to a two-way contract tomorrow. Tomorrow being day 2 for cap purposes. Players can be sent down, which would make room for him to be signed and registered. So we're waiting for that to be done here with Travis Dermott to sort of bolster the Oilers' depth on the blue line. I'm excited for Oilers hockey. I'm sure you are as well, and we will have coverage for you after the Oilers season and home opener against the Winnipeg Jets. That's it for today's video. Enjoy the games today. Enjoy the start of hockey season, folks. It is finally here. Have yourselves a fantastic day. I'm Matt.